My brother's wife left him for another man. I helped him through his depression, but when she came back claiming she'd changed, I warned him not to take her back. He cut me off instead. Now, years later, he's back, saying she cheated again. Am I wrong for not wanting to support him this time? About 9 years ago, my brother's wife left him for another man. She was cheating on him all that time. My brother was devastated. They had married very young. I was always against it. I had my brother in my apartment for months. He had fallen into a severe depression and I was the one who paid for his psychologist since he didn't have money and even lost his job because he didn't even want to move from the couch or bath. I even gave him a bath. I wasn't bothered by that. I did everything for my brother. She just left and blocked him from everywhere. She simply confessed to him that she had been cheating on him for a year and that she was in love with that man. 4 years after that, when my brother was finally starting to feel better, she reappeared in everyone's life. The typical thing happened. She and her lover were no longer together. She had begun to receive psychological help and changed completely. She felt regretful, she was really sorry, etc. I told my brother all the time to cut off contact with her for the sake of his mental health. He didn't. I always had a bad feeling and I could smell the shit from afar. He started to justify her past actions all the time by saying that she changed. They were too young, she was having problems, etc. and he got angry when I told him that she is still a bitch. Shortly after that, they got back together and my brother cut off all contact with me because I didn't accept their relationship and he didn't want anyone to come between them. I told him to fuck off and we didn't talk anymore. Now my brother has reappeared at my house, after years without him wanting to talk to me, only to tell me that his wife cheated on him again, but this time they have children. In the past I would have let him in, hugged him and everything, but he has gone years without even inviting me to meet his children. He has not even spoken to me to congratulate me on my marriage or on my pregnancy. I even invited him to my wedding and he didn't come. I told him that at this moment I can't let him be in my house, which is actually true because I can't have that kind of stress. He told me that we are siblings and he needs me, but I told him that I needed him too, but he was never there and he cut me off for that woman. We had an argument and my husband ended up kicking him out because I was already crying. He's staying with our parents now and my mother just tells me it's not the time to hold a grudge against him and he needs me, but I can't forget how he didn't think twice before cutting off all contact with me for her. Some more info from the comments. I don't understand it either, but the truth is that he had never gotten over that relationship. My brother went back to her because she basically sweetened his ear with things like that she was getting psychological help, that she was sorry for everything. She even came to tell me that she was really sorry for everything. I warned him about that, but he just said people can change and she changed. They came back and then she got pregnant. Update: I have spoken to my mother because she kept trying to persuade me to talk to my brother. She came to see me since I cannot move too much. She basically told me that my brother is very sorry and I told her that then he should tell me that and not her. But my mother replied that my brother is too embarrassed about his actions. But I told her that I am not going to let her be any kind of mediator and my brother is old enough to speak for himself. I know he was sending her to insist that I talk back to him. My brother is an adult and can speak for himself. That said, 2 days ago my brother came to my house to talk about everything. He told me something that I always knew, which is that he never got over his ex-wife and he was always totally blind for her. He believed that all of us who were against him coming back to her were toxic and he should cut us out of his life because we were an obstacle that didn't believe people can change, so that's what he did with me, blocked me from his life. He said that he feels ashamed of himself for having been so blind since she cheated on him again. I never told him I told you so, nor am I going to, cause he already knows that. There were many people worried about whether their children were his, but I can assure everyone that they are. They look identical to him and luckily she was maybe faithful at that time. Anyway, after talking he apologized to me and told me that he needs me, but I told him the same thing as that day. I needed him too and he was never there. I forgive him for everything, but that doesn't mean that I want to go back to everything being like before because I don't want to put myself in that situation again. He didn't even tell me what he's going to do with his wife and I don't want the situation to repeat. I never did anything expecting something in return, but it did hurt me a lot that he turned his back on me without thinking twice and only came back when things got bad for him. I had invited him to my wedding, maybe foolishly believing that he would come, but he didn't even do that. I even kept a seat for him thinking he was maybe coming late and I feel really dumb for doing that. I told him I'm sorry, but I want things to continue as before since I got used to not having him in my life and I don't trust that he won't use me as a nurse and therapist anymore. At first he didn't understand it and said that we are siblings and we should be united, but when I told him that he forgot that for years, he shut up. So that's it. I simply told him that I prefer to continue without contact with him as before and I have made it clear to my mother that I want to spend these months peacefully. Maybe some will call me cruel and say I should think about my family, but I'm not going to let him treat me like she treated him. Relevant comments. At this point, YDA, your brother has apologized, but you've decided to be vindictive and cut him out of your life. He made the mistakes he made because he was in love with a bad woman. Do you wish to cut out children as well? You've effectively done that too. Opie, what children are you talking about? He never let me meet his children, they don't even know that I exist. You should learn that forgiving doesn't mean that everything will go back to the way it was before. I didn't take him out of my life, he took me out of his and I told him that we should keep living that way. I need to keep my boundaries for myself and my family. Comment: you are absolutely not the a-hole. Your brother made his choices and cut you out of his life when you tried to warn him. You don't owe him comfort now that his poor decisions have blown up in his face. You're prioritizing your own well-being, and that's perfectly okay.